Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're listening anywhere you get podcasts, and you can follow me on socials at MLUpod, and you can check out my website, peteraradio.com, for the full My Little Underground archives. Now today we're going to talk about some of the tunes I've been cranking all autumn long, and the list runs very long. I think it's been a very busy fall for music, and we're going to jump right in. You know, no small talk here on My Little Underground, just big talks. Alicia Walter, MLU alumni, and she put out her debut solo album, I Am Alicia, and this record is full of just brilliant arrangements that complement Alicia's tremendous voice. And I'm all about the song, not just someone with a good voice. There's plenty of people with great voices out there, but among those people, their songs aren't as strong. So Alicia Walter is one of those people. Great voice with great arrangements. That's what I look for. And her tunes are very theatrical, but it's not obnoxious or over the top. They have a lot of charisma, but it's still grounded, if that makes any sense. And a few of my favorite tunes on this album, Talking to Myself, is very comedic, very tongue-in-cheek. It's hysterical. Go listen to it. You'll enjoy it. And it's very catchy and pretty as well. And Suit Yourself. And this is kind of a be yourself anthem. And I've been obsessed with this idea of just suiting yourself and living your true colors. And every other motivational post that Alicia Walter puts on her socials, I always comment with some form of suiting yourself. I always reappropriate her metaphor in this song anytime that I could. And I think she appreciates that. So really go listen to Alicia Walter's solo album, I Am Alicia, one of my favorites of the year. And I hope it becomes one of yours as well. Shannon Lay, another My Little Underground guest. She just put out her new album, Geist, her second with Sub Pop. Huge Simpsons fan, just like myself. And we took our whole episode of My Little Underground just geeking out about the Simpsons, but most of it, not all of it. And she recently just did her first string of headlining shows here in New York, including TVI in Ridgewood and at the Mercury Lounge the very next day. I was at the Mercury Lounge show, and it was such a wonderful performance. It was transcendent. And Shannon has a very tame sound, so when I was watching her, I didn't need earplugs. I forgot them. But I didn't worry because I know Shannon Lay's sound, and she has a lot going on. She had a keyboard player, she had a stand-up bassist, so, you know, there was a lot happening, but it wasn't deafening. You know, she used to be in a punk band, Feels, and when I saw them, I definitely needed earplugs. A lot of noisy guitars going on with Feels. Total opposite with Shannon Lay's solo stuff, which is really cool. And one of my favorites from Shannon Lay's new album, Geist, Awaken and Allow. It's very poetic lyrically, and it has this very spooky, minimalistic arrangement. And the tune is all about not fearing the unknown and taking chances and stepping out of your comfort zone. And Shannon Lay is definitely one of my favorite songwriters, and she definitely stepped up her game this album. You know, her last album, August, was also just as poetic, but I think with Geist, Shannon Lay just hit a home run here, and sky's the limit for her. Gustav, right here in New York City, and I have to be honest, I'm kind of sick of the whole post-punk sound. There's a lot of groups that are kind of mimicking each other, and they get a lot of good press from the music press, and it's hit or miss. You know, Gustav kind of has that sound, but they do it very well, and I'll explain. You know, there's a lot of groups, a few here in New York, Parquet Courts, Public Practice. In Chicago, there's Ganser. In the UK, there's Dry Cleaning and Shopping. These groups have this similar post-punkish kind of CBGB's television-like sound, but these groups have really good songs. You know, I like some of them more than others, but they have songs that kind of stand out. And Gustav is one of those groups. Their debut album, Audio Drag for Ego Slobs, is awesome. Most of the songs in this album really stand out. They're very memorable, and they're just full of life. And they recently announced a huge show in San Francisco, December 9th at the Great American Music Hall. They're playing with the legends, ESG. And if it wasn't for ESG, all the bands that I just named probably would not exist. And my favorite tune on the album is Best Behavior, because it's very memorable, it's very catchy, but it's still kind of rough around the edges, and I really appreciate that from Gustav. So go check out their new album, Audio Drag for Ego Slobs, and if you're in San Francisco, go check them out with ESG on December the 9th. Moving on to a more raw punk sound is the Muslims, the punk trio out of North Carolina, made up of black queer Muslims, and they are not about creating a safe space for white supremacy. They take a hard line on it. If you're racist, if you're an all lives matter, if you're cop loving, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't care, for good reason. And again, I think right now, I've seen in the music press a lot of love for some artists, some popular artists who are diving into the pop punk-ish sound that was popularized with Warped Tour and a lot of bands that got a lot of MTV video play in the early 2000s, like Good Charlotte, Yellow Card. But some of those groups, not all of them, I don't want to, point fingers, but a lot of them don't really take a stand on anything. And it's hard for me to really call them punk. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a gatekeeper or anything like that, but to me, a punk band is a group that takes a stand on something and a message is taken away from it. Descendants called out corrupt politicians and, growing up in the suburbs and all that stuff and all that comes with it. And a band like Minor Threat about being straight edge and not, wanting to drink or anything. And the Muslims, again, they're all about dismantling white supremacy. And I'm all for it. And their debut album came out recently, Fuck These Fucking Fascists. Great title, one of the best album titles of the year. I can't stop listening to it, especially songs like Illegals and Crotch Pop a Cop. Illegals especially because, there's this whole rhetoric about immigrants and what should we do about them? Let's deport them. But most of the people that are saying that are white people. And this land, America, that we're living in, does not belong to white people. The only reason why they're white people here is because of colonialism. And a lot of the indigenous have been murdered and have their culture erased. So I love the Muslims kind of using the illegal immigration rhetoric, spinning it around saying no one's illegal but white people, which is 100% true. So big shout out to the Muslims. Love their new album, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. And also, lastly on the Muslims, it's kind of upsetting because they call out a lot of white supremacist bullshit on their social media, and it gets taken down, and that's infuriating. I remember for Halloween they posted a picture saying if you see anybody, any white people wearing any costume that's very culturally offensive, like punch them in the fucking face. I shared it in my stories, but then it got taken down, which whatever. There's a lot of worse things on social media than, a bunch of black queers calling out racist bullshit. Moving on to Sir Baby Girl, a New York pop star on the rise, at least in my opinion. She's continuing to sell out shows without having an album in 2 years, which is remarkable to me. And our pop superstar diva, Sir Baby Girl, put out a brand new mixtape, Golden B-Day, the mixtape, in celebration of Sir's birthday. And it's a collection of unreleased songs and covers, but, usually when more popular acts put out collection albums, it's usually like throwaways or just really horrible songs that should have never seen the light of day. Case in point, the Michael Jackson Escape album that came out a few years ago. I think there's a reason, aside from a few songs, that Michael Jackson never released those songs. But with Sir Baby Girl, a lot of the songs that Sir put on this mixtape are excellent. And I think a lot of Sir Baby Girl songs in general are just as good as any pop star that's getting a lot of attention now, like Charlie XCX, Caroline Polachek, Adele, and so much more. Nothing against those artists. I love Caroline Polachek. I was a huge fan of Chairlift, but I think Sir Baby Girl songs are just as good as any other, pop star out there. Especially Mascara on here. A lot of catchy vocal samples, beautiful vocal arrangements with some swelling, sustained keys. And I think Too Much has one of the most gorgeous choruses that I've heard all year. So go check out Sir Baby Girl in general, but including Sir's latest mixtape, Golden B-Day. And to my knowledge, as of right now, this is a Bandcamp exclusive, but that'll change. But if you want to hear this, go on Sir Baby Girl's Bandcamp. Another New York-based pop star on the rise that you should definitely pay attention to, Alice Long Yu Gao. Another artist that's continuing to sell out shows, and Alice specifically, unlike Sir Baby Girl, does not have a full-length album out. Before the EP, Alice would just put out a string of singles, and most of them are really, really good too. And Alice recently just released her debut EP, High Dragon and Universe, and Alice has a very unique voice, and this EP has tons of great boisterous arrangements, but they're not overwhelming because, with electronic music, not all, but some, it's a little bit too overwhelming and some of the arrangements kind of fall flat and it becomes kind of monotonous, but Alice keeps the energy going and she's all about the arrangement. What does the song do? And songs like Kampai and DTM are just really catchy, sweet, electronic pop gems, and you should definitely pay attention to Alice Long Yu Gao. Sky's the limit for her as well. Staying in the electronic music world, Tonight, which is the duo of Hudson Mohawk and Lunis, returned with their first single in 2 years, and it's called Tums. This tune has a very pretty melody with, their classic deep bass line sound with some crystallizing, bouncing synths. It's a fun time. Hopefully, this leads to another EP, or possibly, maybe we'll see the group's first full-length album. Because since 2012, we got an EP, and then a single, then another EP. And now we're getting another single, so hopefully we will either get another EP or possibly a full-length album. But who knows? But my one gripe with Tonight is that they announced, this was pre-COVID of course, they announced a show in New York City, but the show got canceled. So they got to make good on that. And I'm not talking about at some random festival. No. They need to have a Tonight show in New York. I don't care when you do it. I don't care where you do it. Just make good on that show, guys. All right? So I'm really looking forward to see what Tonight has in store either later this year or early 2022. But I'm still listening to their fantastic 2-hour BBC mix from 2 years ago. Really good stuff. Moving on to one of my favorite, not only hip-hop artists, but artists in general, Homeboy Sandman. That's right. This dude is on a tear. He's been hitting home run after home run for the past 4 years, and he just put out an album with his longtime collaborators, 2 Hungry Bros. And, since 2017, Homeboy Sandman has been putting out great project after great project, starting with the Lice EPs with A$AP Rock, and Hungry Bros did a beat for that EP, Pizza and Burgers, and one of my favorite songs on there as well. And in 2018, Homeboy Sandman continued with the Humble Pie album with Eden, 2019 Dusty with Mono and Stereo, 2020's Don't Feed the Monster with Quelly Chris, and this year he kicked off 2021 not only with his MF Doom tribute with A$AP Rock, but on Elite 2, which was an EP produced entirely by A$AP Rock. And he's closing, I don't know if he's going to close out this year because he might put out another album before 2022. We got Senile Chef, brand new album, Homeboy Sandman, 2 Hungry Bros. It's a fun, well-produced, quick listen. And some of the best songs on here are Sun Worship and Animal Kingdom. Homeboy Sandman, I'm so happy that he's just cranking out all these amazing tunes. You know, he's kind of like Ty Segall in a way, like the last 5 years of Ty Segall, you know, most of the projects that he's put out have been just fucking fantastic. So keep Homeboy Sandman on your radar. Ibibio Sound Machine, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll let me know. Or somebody, one of y'all, let me know if I'm pronouncing that right. London-based, genre eclectic outfit. They put out their, no pun intended, their electric new single, Electricity. And this tune is channeling the electro and dance side of their sound. Lots of vibrant synths that can fill Carnegie Hall or any kind of ballroom. This is a really fun listen, so check that out. This is their first release since 2019, the last time they put out a full-length album. So hopefully we'll get either another single or another album, maybe the end of the year or early 2022. We shall see. All right, we're going to go to LA now. One of my favorite groups out of California as a whole, Dummy. And they put out their debut full-length album, Mandatory Enjoyment. It is stunning. And this album is basically just building off the momentum of their first two EPs from 2020. And when I first heard Dummy, when the first EP was about to come out, this was pre-COVID, I was hooked. I love their influences. It's essentially like, Stereolab, that motoric, pulsating, forward momentum music with a lot of, psychedelic pop elements. And this album is no different. There's a lot happening, and it's a very fun listen, especially like Final Weapon. This tune is just, imagine the sonic embodiment of Rainbow Road from Mario Kart that just goes on forever. Just doesn't stop. So definitely keep Dummy on your radar and give Mandatory Enjoyment a listen. And I know for a fact that Dummy's putting together a lot of shows for this year and early 2022. If they ever come to your town, go check them out. I have not seen Dummy live. Joe Trainer of Dummy was on My Little Underground last year, and he's also from Wild Honey. And that was the last time I saw him in a musical capacity. So hopefully with Dummy, it's going to be a different experience, and I'm really excited for that. I believe Dummy is slated to come to New York City sometime April 2022. Hopefully we'll have Joe back on, and he'll talk all about it. So what's left for fall, right? Because as of right now, we're in November. So there's two albums that just came out that I've been anticipating greatly, but I haven't had a chance to listen to them yet. And one of them is Courtney Barnett's third album, Things Take Time, and Irreversible Entanglements, Open the Gates. Two artists that I am a huge fan of, and I will give them a listen. And you'll hear my thoughts on it when it comes time for me to do my finals in December. And I have a feeling that these two albums will be on my best of list. I have that much confidence in these artists. Courtney Barnett is, like Shannon Lay, one of my favorite songwriters ever. Her songs, and as well as Shannon's, but Courtney Barnett's songs really touch me. She's an excellent songwriter. She writes really... I don't know if I should still call her lo-fi, but the songs are, the way, vocally, she doesn't her songs aren't overproduced. They still they still have an edge to them. Even Courtney's been on TV and she's a superstar. And Irreversible Entanglements, nothing sweet about their music, even though their music is very lush and soulful and powerful. But, they just come at you, talking all things wrong with the world. But they'll, they serenade you with some beautiful, lush jazz arrangements. So looking forward to listening to Courtney Barnett's and Irreversible Entanglement's new album. And if you heard these albums, let me know what you think. I'm definitely going to let you know what I think when it comes time to do the Best of 2021 wrap-up, which I call my finals. I get my big red pen out, grade some great albums. But this is what I've been listening to this fall. One of my favorite seasons. I was cranking all the tunes that I talked about today while drinking a lot of pumpkin spice lattes. That's right, I'm a pumpkin spice latte guy. So, happy listening. Keep listening to good music keep discovering new music, and listen to My Little Underground wherever you get podcasts, including my website, peteraradio.com/MyLittleUnderground, and follow me on the socials at MLUpod on Twitter and Instagram. It's Peter A once again. Later days.